Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Saturn Sextile or Trine, one's natal Chiron. Now, this transit could manifest in the career, laborious work, the father, authority figures, older people, responsibilities, discipline, and structure, being in harmony with the physical and emotional wounds, suffering. And I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. I don't mean, of course, that the father, older people, authority figures are going to be in agreement with your emotional and physical suffering if you're enduring with any of those things at this point in time of the transit, but they will be, there have to be more empathetic, more understanding of this situation at this time. If you need, like, say, you're in a position where you're in a subordinate or subservient role and you need that time off, this could be an opportune time to do it if you're trying to cope and deal with either some physical related matter or there's emotional or psychological suffering. This could be the time where you're more apt to, to get that support in doing so. The father can be there more so than usual, even if you were in a situation where the father has been somewhat detached or distant from you. Um, if you have your, say, your natal Chiron is in Taurus, there might be physical or related issues with the throat, the neck, the esophagus, or thyroid in some cases, or if it's on more of an emotional level, or it could be issues with self-worth or self-esteem, or dealing, just being able to just be composed and calm. If you have your, say, your natal Chiron is in Taurus in the 8th house as an example, it could be some suffering due to not being able to stay calm and composed in a crisis as an example. It could be another thing too. Another way this transit could manifest is that it's a time where you're more apt to take your responsibility for any suffering you're going through. If there's something where you need to take some kind of action and you need to do something about any suffering, any anguish or turmoil that you may be enduring at this time, this is the time where you're more apt to take that responsibility to take care of it at this time. If you've been hesitating or procrastinating on doing so, this is the time where you're more apt to be able to take care of those issues, because you're more apt to perceive this as more of a serious nature, which I'm sure it probably is. If you're seeing it as one, it may be something that's serious and needs to be taken care of. Um, I mean, Chiron is connected with our suffering, but it's also, it's anguish as well, which is tied in uh, to that, and emotional turmoil that you may be going through. If you have your natal Chiron, say, in the zodiac sign Cancer, and or the 4th house in your chart, it could be some turmoil that may be connected with your home and your family life. Um, Now, Chiron is connected with ineptitude. It's at least where we think we're inept, or it could also be where we actually are inept, and where we feel there's some kind of weakness or ineptitude in our lives. And this is the time where you may be more apt to work hard and be able to concentrate on those issues more so than you ordinarily would. I have my natal Chiron and Aries in the 12th house. And a lot of, the Chiron in Aries by itself can indicate issues with aggression or being assertive and, confronting things. And the thing is, like with me, I think a lot of that manifests in difficulty in confronting and combating those people that are hidden adversaries, ones that may have been impersonating themselves as friends, but they were truly hidden enemies. And that's where, like, if I have this transit, that's something where I could put more focus and concentration on. Saturn is connected with concentration. And the thing about this too is, in weakness, and this is where, if you have your natal Chiron, say in Gemini and or the 3rd house in your chart, there may be some issues that are tied in with communications, or being able to articulate what you're saying, or assimilating information. You might feel there's at least some ineptitude or some weakness in that, but it's a time where you could work hard, work laboriously in trying to improve those matters. And now on the positive end with Chiron, though, I mean, Chiron, as many of you may know, is the wounded healer. It can reflect, areas in life, how we can help and heal others in ways in which we have difficulty in helping ourselves. With me having the natal Chiron and Aries in the 12th house, well, that could be expressed in being able to help others stand up to those hidden enemies, those hidden adversaries, those people that might just be using them, just manipulating them, just to their advantage, just to see what they can get from them. And I may be able to help people deal with that better than I could help myself in that area. It could also be being able to take action to work through limitations and restrictions, work through the fears, having the courage to do so, just in general. And it's a time where I could put forth a lot of effort, laborious work, and be able to focus and concentrate on doing that for others in that example. Now, the thing about the Chiron too is that it's connected with the deepest pain that we suffer, or we go through. And the thing about it is, if somebody has their Chiron in Pisces, it could be some issues with betrayal or deception, duplicity, that one may be enduring. And if you have, like, say, the natal Chiron, if it's in Pisces in the 11th house, it could be some betrayal from some group or club or organization, or even friends that you might have perceived as being very loyal and steadfast. It might have been a situation where you either overlooked their transgressions, or you were unwilling to see them and see the fine print in these people, and you got hurt because of that. And this is the time where you could focus and concentrate on those issues more, be more of the authority, so to speak, that Saturn authority on dealing with those issues more so than you ordinarily would. Chiron is also connected with depleted self-esteem and self-worth. And during this time as well, if you could be where the father, authority figures, older people, they may be beneficial in you dealing with that at this time. If you have your natal Chiron, say it's in Taurus and or the second house in your chart, those issues connected with depleted self-worth or self-esteem, they may be associated with your monetary situation, maybe your possessions or your lack of, being able to have persistence with certain things, being able to endure just things in general. Your patience may be limited, and maybe due to lack of patience with certain issues, certain situations, there may be difficulties as a result of that. And it's a time where you may be able to have these people be able to help you in those matters. As an example, again, Saturn being connected with the father, older people, and authority figures. And Saturn also symbolically, Saturn is the key. The symbol of it is the key. So it's understanding the key to being able to really deal with this suffering better, understanding what the key is to get out of the situation where you're really you're dealing with the most suffering, your deepest pain. You could be having a mentor at this time assist you with this, or it could be, again, going back to father, older people, authority figures can be beneficial in this. This is a, I have, again, having the natal Chiron and Aries in the 12th house. It could be just maybe unleashing, some anger, agitation, and solitude and seclusion, hitting a punching bag or something. It's really, there's ways, or it could simply be maybe confronting those people some of those people once and for all that might have been posing as themselves as friends that were really hidden adversaries. In my example of Chiron and Aries in the 12th house. Now, another way this transit could manifest, it could be about responsibility, which is Saturn. to deal with your physical and emotional wounds, which is Chiron. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back, but anyway. Now let's say if your natal Chiron is in Scorpio, the physical related matters can be connected with the colon, the prostate, the bladder. If it's on an emotional level, it could simply be emotional manipulation. Now, another way this transit could be expressed, it could be where the father, which is Saturn, can be more in harmony and agreement with helping the manner in which you help and heal others, which is Chiron. If the natal Chiron, say, is in Aquarius in the 11th house, it could be really helping those that might feel ostracized, which could be connected with Aquarius. It could be being that nonconformist, maybe. Maybe it's due to some idiosyncratic behavior. And ones that are averse to, integrate in groups. Groups is connected with the 11th house. And the thing about this too, this transit could be auspicious for planned and premeditated, which is Saturn, dealing with your depleted self-esteem or self-worth, which is Chiron. Now, let's say, for example, if the natal Chiron is in Virgo, and in the 3rd house, it could be where you had to deal with some kind of critical or judgmental, which is Virgo, people that were classmates from your early education, which is the 3rd house. This could also be a time where it could be propitious for laborious work, which is Saturn, to heal the deepest pain, which is Chiron. Now, let's say, for example, if you have the natal Chiron in Pisces in the 7th house, as an example, it could be some kind of dealing with betrayal or deception or duplicity from a significant other, as an example, marriage partner. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.